being a creative is shadow work on crack. Whatever it is that you thought you were doing at therapy, doing your little journaling, creating vision boards, try doing a creative endeavor and see what kind of shadows hit you in the face then. Because we're talking about the perfectionism, procrastination, imposter syndrome, the insecurities, the belongingness, the fear of being seen, the fear of being perceived, the fear of putting yourself out there. All of these different things just start to come up and smack you all over the head. And this is where you get to alchemize all your shadows into your creative process. I'm feeling inspired to come chat with you around creativity and shadows today because we're going to see this huge uprising of creative desires in the next couple of years. And this is always true. Anytime there are world events that are catastrophic, anytime there's a revolution, anytime there are things that we feel helpless and hopeless around, the equal and opposite is true, where the creative desire of art and music and love and energy starts to also be very present. So as much as there is this that doesn't feel good, there is this equal and opposite energy of desire, of creation, of art, of mystical energy that starts to uprise as well. So you might be feeling that already. You might already be somebody who's in the momentum of your creativity, or you have been for years and decades of your life, but it's starting to feel a little different now. It feels more important, it feels more valuable, it feels more embodied and aligned, and there's kind of less of a performance about it. It feels more, this feels truly authentically me. It feels truly what I'm meant to do, what I'm meant to share, what I'm meant to bring out into the world in order for it to be experienced. Or you're somebody who's brand new in your creative aspirations, where you're just like, I don't know, I just got this itch and I've never really flexed a creative muscle in my life before. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's art, music, singing, songwriting, whether it is painting or being in the healing arts, you're a healer, a facilitator, you are a speaker. It doesn't matter how you identify or label your creativity. You have this desire that it's innately awakening within you. And for me, this is exciting because I'm always talking to you about the healing arts. I'm talking to you about your nervous system. I'm talking to you about how to nurture this creative flow so that you don't actually let the shadows take over you, because that's how it really feels when the shadows come up. Because you ever entertain an insecure thought, and now the next 2 weeks of your life is I'm not good enough, you're scrolling on the Instagram, you're scrolling on here, you're complaining to your friends, and now you lost your direction. It just feels like woo. And then again you have this moment of clarity, and then a second this other insecure thought comes, and now your body goes into this momentum, and you're going through this loop-de-loop over and over. And maybe years of your life you have done this. You've done this over and over again, where now you say, wait a second, I actually don't have to be in this very toxic loop for myself. I can actually go in and face these shadows little by little. And it doesn't always have to be this I have to go into years of healing and months of this type of work and da-da-da. You can actually alchemize in real time the shadows that come up for you. Okay? And if we don't know each other, hello, welcome to the Playground Podcast. I'm Shanila. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. What are you doing? And let's get into it. Now, I feel very motivated to talk about this because it is very true and real of something that I've been experiencing in my own life. And in 2025, I'm creating this video in 2026, but 2025, I've been talking to you all year long about the snake energy, shedding the old, how your skin is tender after you shed the old. You're stepping into this new vibration. You're stepping into a more clarity, deeper understanding, more embodied work. All of these things are buzzwords until they start to click in your physical body, where you say, wait a second, why am I creating things for other people in a way that's not resonant to me? Why am I doing things for a sense of belonging when I don't even want to belong to these places? Why am I? And you start to question. And that's the shadow part of it, because before we didn't question. We were just making this because that seems cool, and making that because somebody else did this, and it's very innocent, and it's very, not a malicious thing for you to do, but there's this energy of not being intentional. So this intentional energy is going to start to feel even more raised into the surface, where you're going to have a hard time doing things that you just don't give a shit about. And you're going to have a harder time saying yes to things that don't really energetically align, where you feel like you're trying to force yourself to fit into a place where it doesn't make sense for you. And maybe some parts of it does, but there's this like belongingness that starts to be more important for you. The shadows that come up when you do creative stuff are things to pay attention to. And usually we're trying to bypass it. We're like, how can I do more breath work? And I'm not shading breath work. I literally run a breathwork facilitator training school. So it's not like I'm shading breath work, but I'm saying that you can't pass the emotional thing that you're navigating just by doing something that brings you temporary relief. And that's the shadow piece of it, because we all seek temporary relief. Because who wants to feel insecure? Like who wants to feel entertain this thought that is gonna take you down this level of, insecurities and make you feel bad, and then now you're not good enough, and now you're this and this, and it's like, like who wants to do any of that? None of us, right? But there's a core of that emotion. There's the core of that thought. There's the core of that feeling that is dropped into your body that says, and I cannot pretend anymore. And whether you recognize that you were pretending or not, because you're not a fake bitch, so you were not pretending, but maybe you were and you didn't know that. You were making things to be palatable for certain groups of people. You were making things and saying in a certain way so that it would prevent you from getting judgment or getting feedback that feels yucky in your body. You were doing things in a certain way. You were presenting yourself in a certain way to be palatable. You were really neglecting your own consistency. You were neglecting your devotion. You were calling it perfectionism and procrastination when really perhaps you were not aligned to the desire that was truly yours. There's all of these things that we didn't know that we did. There were things that we didn't know that were happening, but now is where you get to question, because the more the shadows come, you make a choice. You say, do I just like give into the insecurity and then this is just not my path and it's too hard, too sad, so bad for me, so I'm not going to do it? That's one way. And sometimes you need to go through that arc in order to get your shit together. Sometimes that's true too. But sometimes it's really just like, whoa, these emotions that I'm feeling around why I'm not actually able to be consistent, or why I'm always changing what it is that I'm focused on why it is that I feel cringe and then I give up. And why is it that when you ask that why from an emotional level, there's this desire that you're going to truly tap into. Are you tapped into your true desires? Are you tapped into other people's desires? Are you projecting what other people want from you? Or are you tapped into your own thing? Are you tapped into devotion for yourself in a place that honors your own rhythms, the ways that you do certain things at a certain time of day, and your sleep cycle is this way, and then your menstruation is this way, and certain times of the year is going to be a certain type of way? Are you paying attention to all of that? And the more you pay attention to that, to do things outside of those cycles, it's a disregard to your natural energy, to your natural flow. And unfortunately, and this is very true, that in our modern culture, especially in the Western world, we're not really taught about the nature of seasons. You know about seasons, winter, fall, this and that, about that, but what is happening on a biological level? What is happening on a hormonal level? What is happening on an energetic and emotional level? So when you look at nature, and nature functions in these very beautiful, predictable seasons, you almost feel like you're not part of nature anymore. And you're trying to force yourself to do certain things at a time of the year when it's really about being inward. And certain times you're trying to be inward when it's actually really time to be outward. That's a thing too. There's all of these seasons that we fluctuate too, but when we're not connected to our natural rhythms and cycles, our creativity also fights with that too. So all of this shadow around your consistency, around your belongingness, around you shape-shifting all the time, around your procrastination, around the fact that why is it so hard to be devoted to what it is that you do, what it is that you make, and what it is that you create, is going to start to show up. Now, I think about this in my own life, and this past year in 2025, I've been sharing with you so much around things that have been shifting in my own experience as a healing arts practitioner. I'm the founder of the Healing Arts Academy, where I train and certify folks in breathwork and sound healing. I mentor aspiring healers. I teach about flow states and perfectionism, all of this beautiful work that we've done in there. There's a new iteration or a wider iteration of my work that has been surfacing as well, where now I'm making music, I'm curating different types of events. I've been a lot more insular lately. In the past, I used to do these big events and big festivals and big da-da-da-da-da. And then lately, for I would say past 2.5 years, it's just been more about this inward journey of shedding, of grieving, of holding myself, of looking at the depths of some newer emotions that have come to the surface. Looking at myself as a person who is evolving and growing and learning and surrendering and softening. There's many things that I'm experiencing in my human life too that feels very relevant to the collective energy. Here's a couple of the most common shadows that I've noticed coming up in the collective lately. Consistency, okay? And take a deep breath with me, because we're not here to point fingers, but we are here to say let's get real with it. If you notice that there's a consistency problem, if you notice there's a part of you that hesitates to be consistent, we're talking about a problem with devotion. You already know how to set a timer. You already know how to do these, work blocks. You know conceptually how to have consistency. That's not your problem. Your nervous system and your energetic body is now saying, I actually have an issue with devotion. I really don't know how to devote myself, because perhaps I'm still working out my people-pleasing behaviors. Perhaps I'm working out the parts of me that still feels not good enough. Perhaps I'm working out the parts of me that compares and looks for validation from people and places outside of myself. And maybe consistency isn't about somebody, going, and counting for me and doing this and doing that. It is an inner world shadow that I'm navigating right now. What does my consistency show me about myself? What does my consistency show me about devotion? And maybe you're having trouble in your creativity showing up. You have the consistency, but now you gotta tell people that it's here. You gotta practice the visibility energy. Do you feel cringe? Do you feel ew the second that you make a thing, you make a pose, it feels desperate, and it's oh, I feel needy. I feel I'm a try hard. It looks desperate if I try. Is that a thought that has come up for you? You're navigating losing control. You're navigating how you're controlling the perception that people have about you. Because if I control it and I don't look desperate, even though I desperately want this, or even though I have this desire for a thing, even though I want to experience this thing, if I say that I want it, then it looks desperate. And I don't want to be desperate because I'm supposed to be, queen. I'm supposed to be energy, this da-da-da. I'm supposed to magnetize it. But what if both things could be true at the same time? That your visibility wound has taken over your magnetism. The way that you are afraid to be seen, to be held, to be witnessed, to be perceived, you're controlling all of that. You're trying to control all the knobs at the same time, because I'm going to make them see me like this, and I'm going to make them see me like this. And yes, placement and positioning yourself as certain things too, but how is that dissociating you from your spirit? How is that disconnecting you from your authentic expression, your embodied expression in your physical body that says, I actually don't even care about any of these different things, but I'm acting out of fear. That's my shadow. I'm acting out of fear. So I fear that if I didn't control that, then they get to say whatever they want, and they get to think whatever they want. And I can't have that because my nervous system can't handle somebody's opinion. That's too much. And so you constrict, you get smaller to the point where you're literally hiding behind, all the closed doors. And even the doors that are opening for you, you're hiding behind them. You're not walking through the door, you're hiding. You're trying to think of another reason, another explanation, a sabotagey kind of moment, because that feels safe to you. That feels the safest, to hide, to not be seen, to not be visible. And there's a balance of being visible in a way that is wrong for you. That is true as well. You got to think about what part of that is true as well. That's a piece of the shadow that you navigate. And then if you're navigating constantly shape-shifting and changing what you want, and one second you're very clear, and then the next second you're not, and then tomorrow you have no idea, and then the full moon comes, and then everything is unclear to you, and then one day you have this big clarity because you were journaling, and you're shape-shifting. So your energy never really knows where to go. It never really knows, I'm focusing on this. This is my North Star right now. Even if months later it changes and shifts and I get different clarity and the world opens up and gets to bloom and blossom, there's pace that's important there. There's patience that's important there. The shape shifting is another story about trust. Do you trust to let go of control? Do you trust to know that the thing that you're working on is gonna work out? This little desire that you have from your inner child, from your inner teenager to play, to make, to create, to be dancing out in nature and to be in this vibrant energy where you're not worried about all the ways that you're not enough. You gotta trust that what you're working on through your devotion is gonna pay out, is gonna make sense for you, is gonna have something to show for at the end of the day. And maybe it's not in the way that you thought. Maybe it's not $1 million deposit into your bank account, and maybe it is. Maybe it's through finding community and people that enrich your life in a certain way that you never even knew that you needed or wanted. Perhaps it's the travel that you get to do, to be experiencing different cultures, to see different nature, to in connection with different elemental spirits that you never thought you'd get to experience, and that shifts something within you. Your energy has this opportunity to grow because you're staying in devotion to the thing that you're working towards, the thing that you're joyously, playfully doing, the thing that lights you up. And perhaps some of your wounding right now is around checking numbers all the time. You know, did I get a like? Did I do this? Da, da, da. And it almost prevents you from doing it again because you didn't get the validation of the like. You know, you have these many followers, but nobody gave you a comment, or nobody gave you this, or nobody da da da. And it's like crickets. And devotion feels like that, to do things behind the scene, even when you're not getting the validation in the way that you seek it. But the validation is internal, the inside. And yes, I'm not going to lie that yes, external validation feels great. When somebody likes your thing, it feels great. When you get a compliment, it feels great. But if you're only dependent on that, that becomes the shadow. How can you validate yourself from the inside to know that the things that you're doing and creating and making and building are also beautiful, are worthwhile to just enjoy in the present moment? So even as you're growing into the next iteration, even as different ideas and shiny objects and creative inspirations come, not all at once, unless you're resourced to do all of that, unless you're financially resourced to do that, unless you are feeling supported mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, spiritually resourced enough to do that. But most of the time when we're in this leaky kind of energy, the shadow work that we see in our creative endeavor is not to be bypassed. And bypassing, I'll define it for you, is when you ignore the thing. You ignore the emotion. You ignore the itchiness of it all because you're trying to force through. Not force, creative flow. It's not called creative force, it's called creative flow. Life force, yes. The energy that is heavy, the energy that is flowing and infinite and just that is always moving within, that's a life force. But creative flow, nature flows, sensual flow, life flows. It's not a force, right? And so this inspiration that you have to step into whatever creative endeavor that you have, and again, whether it's in the healing arts, whether it is through making something small, beading a necklace, whether it's your poetry or your words or utilizing your voice or your body, or to sing a song, to make music, to hold women's circles, to go dance under the moonlight, to gather people for a crochet circle, it doesn't matter. We're not talking big. We're talking movement. We're talking small incremental steps that adds up over time. That's called compounded effort. You do one thing one time, cool, beautiful, nice. You do that over and over and over and over again, you start to catch onto some mastery. You do that over and over and over and over again, you start to feel like you're in your purpose, you're in your energetic alignment to what it is that is meant to be experienced through you. And the beautiful conversations that we've been having in my masterminds, my groups, different things that I hold space for, is that we're navigating all of these shadows. Because it's not to say that somebody who's done creative things Myself included, I'm a best-selling author. I'm the host of a globally ranked top 2% podcast for 5 years now. I'm the founder of the Healing Arts Academy, a decolonized breathwork facilitator training school, founder of an award-winning digital agency when I was 23 years old. There's a lot of creative things that I've done. But if you're bypassing your shadows by just saying, it doesn't exist because I don't see it today, it's gonna come bite you in the ass. It's not a threat. It's just the process of life. Everything is cyclical, until you address those things, until you change how those shadows behave within you, how they behave with you, how they behave in your presence, how you narrate them, how you navigate them, how the energetic body responds. And this don't have to be years and years and years of like deep down shadow, dirty work, da 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 da. I'm a proponent of you doing your shadow work as you're doing your creativity. So as you make your things and you feel your cringe come up, as you feel yourself not at expert level when you're on day 1, when you're on week 2, when you're at month 2 and you're not at expert level, and this feeling of like, am I ever gonna get there? You still bother to make incremental daily steps towards your thing. And circling back to the word that I said to you before, that's your devotion. That's not how much information you've collected, not how many, beautiful certifications you have, not how much information that you have collected up here, but truly from a nervous system level, choosing to move through these shadows in an embodied way. Not to bully yourself again, because you already went through these shadows many, many times and you likely bullied yourself. I just know this about you. You likely bullied yourself. You likely said X, Y, and Z to your things, not good enough, dish, da, blah, blah, and you acted like those things weren't important to you. So whatever scale you're trying to do anything, whether you are like, I want the biggest, most impactful thing from my work, and I love that for you. If that is where you are, embody that energy. You want big impact? Then move with devotion. Move with impact in your day-to-day life. That doesn't seem impactful to me. I'm sorry. I am mocking you because sometimes we want to do these big, great things. We want to heal the environment. We want to work with these collaborators. We want to help people. We want to heal ourselves. We want to do all these different things that are so important. Then move accordingly. Don't move and dilly-dally about it. I do think you should dilly-dally about other things and just like have some dilly-dally energy in life too. But the things that you want to make an impact about, you got to be impactful about how you move around those things. So we're talking about having devotional habits. We're talking about really working through the inner critic when it comes. Not if it comes, when it comes. We're talking about your nervous system. We're talking about your energetic body. We're talking about all of these factors that play a part in your creative endeavors. Yeah? Now, friends, if you want to do this work with me, I'm inviting you to Daydreamer. This is a 6-week container where we're building these core foundational muscles. We're saying, what the heck does it actually look like for me to not just theoretically know stuff? What does it look like for me to put this into practice? For me to sit here in front of my shadow. This being your shadow, meaning your project. That is your shadow. Your creative project is your shadow. And you look at it right in the face. You're like, why can't I sit here? What's being reflected back to me? What is showing up for me? The narration isn't about me just like clicking twice or painting it this way. I already know how to do all of this stuff. But what is happening within my physical vessel that is preventing me from really being devoted to this thing? And am I abandoning it as soon as I get close to it? Am I pretending like it's not important to me as soon as I get close to it? Am I acting like I don't care as soon as I get close to it? Am I shifting my energy? Am I shifting what I want as soon as I get close to it? And if that's not shadow work on crack, I don't know what you're going to do, okay? So this is my invitation that if you want to do this work together, I'm going to leave you some information in the show notes. You can click through it and read all the details about when, where, what we're doing and really come through in a community space to be witnessed in your creative process. Because doesn't that mean something? When you belong to a place that feels like wait, there's other people like me who are also doing this, and also I thought they were ahead of me, but they have this exact insecure thought about themselves, and they feel exact cringe, and they also have visibility wounds, even though I see them on social media, and I see them on stage, and I see them putting their art, and I see them having their business, and I see them, and they still have this insecure thought too. So perhaps I'm projecting certain things that I didn't even know that I needed to work through within myself, because I'm narrating up here, but not really putting that work into practice. All right. So Daydreamer is open for you to come through. I'll leave all the details into the show notes. All right. And honestly, this is how I've been able to do so many high level creative things in my life across many different industries. It's not just the healing arts. It's not just writing a best-selling book. It's not just having a top ranked podcast. It's not just X, Y, and Z. It is a devotion that is required. There is a care, there's a softness, there's a softening that is required to be in full pursuit of something that actually lights you up. All right? Well, friends, remember, the world is your playground. And until next time, I will catch you soon.